Irving celebrated the spirit of community in 2017. With each event and every fascinating person we met, that intangible quality that makes Irving home was at the heart of each of our favorite stories. So let's take another look at them in the Best of About Town 2017. Happy New Year's, everyone, and welcome to our annual recap of our favorite stories of the year. The spirit of Irving was everywhere we went in 2017, and our first stop was a new winter festival from the Irving Events team, Frost Fest.
It's not often you get to go snow sledding in Irving, Texas.
Oh my gosh, well, I didn't think it was going to be that fast or that it has that little drop in the middle of it, but it was super fun and I loved it.
Catherine Morell took her 2-year-old son, Watson, along for the ride.
He has never seen snow before, so he's like so excited about all of this.
He is not the only one. The idea of playing in the snow on a 60-degree day brought thousands of people to Irving Cimarron Park on January 28th for the city's first ever Frost Fest.
It's very nice. They're having fun, and snow is something you don't get to see around here, so they're excited.
There was plenty of snow and winter-themed activities to go around.
We've never done a winter-themed event here in Irving, and this is a ton of fun. We've got attractions that include anything from snow, ice sculptures, a miniature train. The characters from a popular Disney movie are here.
Add to that a human snow globe, a petting zoo with a reindeer, and ice skating for every age.
1,200 square foot skating area, and we provide 60 pair of different ice skates and give everyone a chance to ice skate for the day in a parking lot.
Need a rest from skating? A Frost Fest train took guests for a tour around Cimarron Park. And for those who wanted to warm up,
fingers all together.
story time, puppet shows, and arts and crafts, courtesy of the Irving Public Library, were inside. This free event is a year in the making, and event planners thought of everything.
And, we're always out benchmarking and trying to find the next big thing to bring to Irving. And I attended this small event and said, we should do this, but we can do it bigger and better. And we definitely have done that.
I think these little girls would agree.
I'm having fun and having a great time here. And I'm going to play with my friend Barbie, and my name is Samhita. And I'm going to in the snow globe.
If you missed it, there's always next year.
Oh, this is definitely coming back next year. This was a great success. We will definitely be back here at Cimarron Park in January 2018.
From frosty fun to feeling the burn, Zest Fest returned to the Irving Convention Center, and Susan Kamyab says it was hotter than ever. Check out these highlights.
No, it's really hot. I mean, it wasn't hot at first. It's hot now.
It's hot now. It's going down hot. And a crazy person will take a mouthful of that stuff. I love it. I'm going to buy some.
Deborah and Frederick Williams have just scorched their mouths trying Grinder's hot sauce at this year's Zest Fest. This annual event held at the Irving Convention Center allows people to try an assortment of hot sauces and spicy foods from around the country.
We're all about flavor. We've got everything mild up to extremely hot, just with a combination of different peppers.
This is Elijah's Extreme Gourmet Sauces. We like to have a hotter sauce with a good amount of flavor, a good amount of heat. Nothing that's too overpowering and something you can put on any meal. Today we have our original ghost pepper blend, which is a ghost pepper blend with a red Savina habanero.
We have 4 flavors of salsa. We have a fire roasted red, which has fire roasted tomatoes, nice smoky flavor. We have a classic salsa verde. We have a very unique product on the market. It's a salsa verde with dill called Dillicious Verde. So it was a happy mistake. One morning I'm making some salsa for my wife to take to work with her, and I wasn't fully awake. So instead of putting in cilantro, I mistakenly grabbed dill. It ended up working out. It's got somewhat of a cult following. Once people try it and they like it, they'll search out the stores and go buy it over and over and over again.
As our mouths continue to burn, Zest Fest has a new option to cool down the heat.
Cheese helps you cool down. And so we used to put a first aid label on our cheese curds to help rescue your mouth after you sample the hottest thing here.
The old Windmill Dairy provided a variety of tasty cheese samples. and explain why their cheeses are meant to relieve the pain instead of causing it.
Well, it's the milk in it and the dairy itself, because we have been asked year over year when we do events like this where there is hot food, we want a hot cheese. And honestly, the two of us have really tried to work on getting our cheese hotter, and the dairy just keeps cooling it down. So we have decided that we're going to be the first aid at these events instead of trying to actually get our cheese hotter.
It's an aid we hope people sought out after visiting the execution station, where people tried 8 of the hottest sauces back to back.
It's really more the back of my throat that's just like, oh, it's all back there. Each time I take a breath, it's just like, just goes in there.
For 12-year-old Lauren Fullerton, this was a challenge, but one she was determined to finish, no matter how painful.
Oh my God, my stomach's just messed up.
Zest Fest 2017 brought the heat with plenty of spices, foods, and even celebrity chef demonstrations.
Zest Fest is always a lot of fun. We enjoy it. It's a lot of fun sharing with people that obviously have the same interest, and then, of course, hurting a few people.
For About Town, this is Susan Kamyab.
The entertainment series of Irving brought the 3 Redneck Tenors to town, and if you were lucky enough to be there, you know their special blend of artistry and zaniness has no comparison. Irving's own Blake Davidson is one of the tenors, but he's actually a baritone, and we'll let him tell that story. The 3 Redneck Tenors have blazed a different kind of brand in the tenor genre since 2006, when they were finalists on America's Got Talent. With their combination of musical comedy, general craziness, and stellar musicianship, they have thrilled audiences at home and on the high seas. Blake Davidson, with the group since 2009, hails from right here in Irving.
Well, originally the show had 4 members, and so we used to say, we are the 3 Redneck Tenors. What separates us from all the other tenor groups is that there are 4 of us, and we're not all tenors. That description sets the tone for an evening with the 3 Redneck Tenors: irreverent, lighthearted, kinda zany. Antics is a pretty good way to describe it. It really is different every single night, and mainly because of Matthew Lord, who is an absolute crazy person and so quick on his feet and loves audiences and will just take whatever they give him and make something funny out of it.
This is going to be the response we're going to get all night. I'm good with it, but it's going to be a long 6.5 hours. That's all I'm telling y'all.
But those antics have a foundation of dedication to craft that can only come from a passion and talent for singing. He
loves to say, if the singing weren't good, this show would be terrible. Because he says, no matter how bad one of my jokes bombs, we're about to sing in a minute, and all will be forgiven. Blake's own passion for music started in his hometown. I went to Irving High School. I was a 3-time All-State Choir member, which I was very proud of. They say you can't go home again, but Blake, Matthew, and Jonathan visited Irving High and got a warm welcome from the current choir students. But Blake started his journey in music even before high school. I was also in the Irving Boys Choir with Woody Schober. In fact, Scott and David Schober were literally the very 2 first members of the Irving Boys Choir. Woody is like, I want to start this choir. Neil, your son and my son are going to be, that's where I'm going to start. Blake started young, and he's never stopped. He says that even when he retires from music full time, he'll always want to work with his talented friends in opera and musical theater.
I would love to be involved in that artistic endeavor with them, us all knowing that we just love working together and we love listening to each other, and let's take this great music that we love and let's just do it together.
One true friend in the universe.
This is Kathy Whiteman reporting.
Who believes in me?
Irving's got a lion's share of talented performers who got their starts right here in town, and we showed a lot of love to several talented young performers at the annual Irving's Got Talent. Who knows where this start might take them? Just remember, you saw them here first on About Town.
Before showtime, they're strumming, stretching, and selfies. Irving teens are getting ready for a night they've been waiting for, preparing for months.
They auditioned back in January, but they applied prior to that. So it's about a 3-month process by the time that they get their act ready and then actually perform.
The annual Irving's Got Talent competition, presented by Lively Point Youth Center and hosted by the Irving Youth Council and Irving Youth Action Council, is an opportunity for the city's teens to showcase their skills.
Well, I'm going to be singing for the second time here, and I'm really nervous, so yeah, there's a lot of good people here.
You're nervous?
Yes, I'm really scared.
Are you guys ready tonight to have a great time celebrating the incredible talent that we have right here in the city of Irving?
16 acts. From bands to dance groups
on a little boat that you made
to singers, performed for a full house at the beautiful Irving Arts Center on Friday, February 17th.
This really is just to give them an outlet, an artistic outlet, to come out and have a place to express themselves and to showcase the talent that Irving has.
Some are taking the stage for the first time.
Fortress Dance Force.
Others are repeat performers.
I've been here since 6th grade. I've been persevering and trying to win, and until last year I finally got an award, so that was very exciting. And hopefully, maybe this year it's an opportunity for me as well.
But after tonight, they will all have had their turn in the spotlight and felt the rush of performing in front of a live crowd.
It's always nice playing for audience, and I just like playing for people.
The teens say they are thankful for this opportunity to creatively express themselves. And even though the crowd showed love and support for every act, judges did choose winners for Best Vocalist, Joy Jackson,
And there is no one there to dry your tears.
Best Movement, Aisha Guha, Best Variety Performance, Wes Myers,
Got a letter in the mail today.
And the crowd used their mobile phones to cast votes for the People's Choice Award, Abigail Duran.
How about that for a way to end Irving's Got Talent 2017?
How about it? For About Town, I'm Angela Lang.
At the heart of the spirit of Irving is Neighbors Helping Neighbors, and the annual Great Days of Service project shows just how beneficial that spirit is to everyone involved. Here's a look at this year's event.
This is a familiar sight in the spring, but there's more going on here than lawn maintenance. Since 2002, dozens of volunteers from area churches have loaded up their paintbrushes and lawn equipment and applied good old-fashioned elbow grease to help some Irving homeowners with repairs and maintenance they can no longer do for themselves.
He has ALS, so he's been confined to a wheelchair for many years.
The annual project, Neighbor Helping Neighbor, is Great Days of Service. This crew from First United Methodist Church also completed a major project inside the home.
We've gone in and made new thresholds over all the all the areas that are difficult for him to get his wheelchair over.
It's attention to these kinds of details that make the homeowners' help this year more comfortable and safe in their homes.
Fixed the plumbing for us. We had a leak, which was real grateful for that.
We have a plumber at church, and he came over and he's been coaching everybody about how to do the plumbing. So we've been doing a little plumbing work.
Sometimes we couldn't figure out where it was leaking from until they more or less they took care of it.
There were enough volunteers this year to complete repairs at almost 24 homes across Irving.
We had 23 homeowners that were qualified, and from some of the homeowners it was just simply cleaning up their yard, and others it was quite involved.
Logistics for coordinating all the crews, equipment, and tools required months of planning and lots of flexibility.
We didn't know how many people would be working at how many sites, because that's a fluid thing depending on what work is available, how many volunteers are available, and the weather.
Despite the weather, the crews showed up, even some from neighboring cities.
Hi, I'm Tina Wilson, and I'm with Christ United Methodist Church in Plano, Texas.
Tina's crew helped with tree trimming and removal.
In the past, part of our service has always been trimming trees or shrubbery or cutting down trees. Well, the church that provided that service last year was unable to provide it this year, so we were in a quandary about it.
So this disaster response team from Plano stepped in to help.
We've come out to Irving to serve our neighbors with cutting down trees, and we do it because we like to use chainsaws, and we really like to help the homeowners do something that they couldn't do on their own, either physically, financially.
There was more help from closer to home.
We had a crew of about 12 from the Young Men's Service Organization, Cistercian, the Irving Hawks.
They came on board 2 years ago, and it's sons and mothers, interesting enough. They come out and do work, all kinds of work for Great Days of Service.
Another big responsibility was getting the crews fed.
We try to take care of the volunteers who are doing the hard work out at the home sites. We make sure they have meals, and we also work with different restaurants and different folks in the community. We had a great support, lots of money, lots of food donated, so that helped a lot.
This interfaith effort is now in its 15th year, and the spirit of neighbor helping neighbor just keeps growing.
We're doing a good thing here.
This is Kathy Whiteman reporting.
Radius Nation rolled out some Irving-style hospitality to racing fans again this year, and we finally got a chance to cover the event on About Town. Here's Brett Wheeler with a look at Racers Reunion Banquet.
From engines to exhausts, there was plenty to see at the Racers Reunion Banquet held over Veterans Day weekend in Irving.
The things that they're celebrating here were going on was just before I was born and right after I was born, so I was very small and I wasn't able to take advantage of it. But I remember being around it, and it was just bigger than life to me.
Randy Calvert says this bigger-than-life celebration is more than just looking at tricked-out cars, but also a chance for him to relive his father's glory days of racing.
My father raced as well as building racing engines. Up until 1961 was the last year he raced anything competitively. After that, he was a crew chief on a couple of cars until about 1968, and then that was the last year he raced.
I was just naturally interested in it, and then started working on cars and stuff like that, and I just then I was able to get a business.
Wayne Calvert and his crew are considered by many to be the pioneers of racing in the Lone Star State, and this reunion put their memories into overdrive.
And I suppose one of the draws to the early stuff, especially reunions like this, is the simplicity of it. Yes, it was dangerous back then. Yes, it was tougher to build a car and go racing back then. But the simplicity of it, it was just so pure.
We made so much of our own stuff, it wasn't all store-bought. Like when we started running, we put a supercharger on our fuel burner, and it started bending the rods, and we welded plates on the side of the steel rods and called them box rods. We kept having to build the next best thing, that when something broke, we found a way to build something that would not break so we could go a little bit faster.
While While these men lived in the fast lane, today they had a chance to slow down and honor a friend who was no longer riding beside them.
Well, today they're honoring one of the early Texas drag racers, a man named Bobby Langley. He was one of the pioneers of drag racing, including Texas.
He's the greatest guy there ever was. He could build anything with his hands.
Bobby Langley was a great honest man, and the best human being I ever met in my life.
All these things you read about him were memories that I forgot about almost. I just remembered how good that he raced and how much fun it was to race with him and everything.
Events like this one aim to keep the memory of legends like Bobby Langley alive and drive home the glory days of racing. For About Town, I'm Brett Wheeler.
Another fascinating person we met in 2017 was Lieutenant Eric Smith, Irving firefighter and Navy Cross recipient. His courage in the line of fire earned him the prestigious award second only to the Congressional Medal of Honor. Here's a look back at the award ceremony.
The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Navy Cross to Corporal Eric M. Smith, United States Marine Corps.
Irving firefighter Lieutenant Eric Smith received the Navy Cross for his extraordinary heroism during Operation Iraqi Freedom. On April 6, 2004, Smith's platoon was ordered to reinforce a squad under attack. While en route, his team was ambushed.
Employing machine guns from the platoon's 7-ton truck, Corporal Smith coordinated and led a counterattack against the insurgent force and relieved the besieged squad.
Smith received the Silver Star for his service in 2006 and joined the Irving Fire Department, where he serves as a lieutenant and paramedic. He recently learned his medal was being upgraded to the Navy Cross, second only to the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Honored and humbled to be able to be here today, first and foremost, and then to have all these great guys with me, guys from my past, guys from my present, people that I work with. They honor me with this ceremony today. The City of Irving, the mayor and the City Council allowing us to use the Veterans Memorial Park for this ceremony. I can't think of a better venue. So, like I said, I'm honored and humbled.
He had a choice to go to Quantico to receive this medal. He chose to do it right here in Irving. And not only in Irving, but at our Veterans Park.
Just a proud day for the city. We're very fortunate that in addition to his military service, he's now joined us for our fire service.
This is Kathy Whiteman reporting. An interesting side note to that story is that Lieutenant Smith's honor was nearly derailed by a missed phone call. And here's a look at what Lieutenant Smith's mom had to say about that.
Irving firefighters are no strangers to braving the heat of battle. But for first responder Eric Smith, that bravery began when he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps.
The Marine Corps it set the foundation for who I am. 3 days after graduating high school, went off to the Marine Corps. They really coached me into becoming a man. To be able to come home and be able to come here to the city of Irving and serve the community here, it's awesome.
Back in September, Eric Smith was awarded the Navy Cross for his valor in combat during Operation Iraqi Freedom.
The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Navy Cross to Corporal Eric M. Smith, United States Marine Corps.
It was a moment of honor and respect, but it was also a moment that almost didn't happen, after Lieutenant Smith's mother was suspicious of the phone call that she received telling her the news.
I love telling the story. She doesn't love it so much. She's standing off camera kind of worried about this talk.
Okay, so I think first I had a recording on my answering machine, and it was somebody that said, this is so-and-so from the Marine Corps, and we're trying to get in touch with Eric Smith. And I thought, why can't they get in touch with him, and how did they find me? Because I've moved several times since he was in the Marines, and I just thought it was a scam because I get lots of phone calls that are scams.
About 30 minutes later, she gives me a call. She was, we were having dinner at the station, so I wasn't able to answer the call, but I call her right back. And she says, I remember what it was. There was a gentleman said he was from the Marine Corps Recruiting Command that would like to get a hold of you. They wanted to upgrade your award. And so it was kind of interesting. You know, she's like, I don't know if it's real though. I think it may be a telemarketer. And I don't know, Mom. You know, if you got the information, I'll call.
So he called the number at 10:30 at night, and he said, "Mom, that's the Marine Corps headquarters phone number." And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So I think that he probably didn't sleep that night and called them at 8 o'clock the next morning. And he called me later and said, "It's real. They're gonna, review my award, and it's possible it might be upgraded to a Navy Cross." And I was like, oh my gosh, and I thought it was all a scam the whole time.
The award ceremony at Irving's Veteran Park was worth the wait. It just goes to show you that sometimes the voice on the other end of the line really does ring true, and it might be the sound of opportunity calling. This is Susan Kamyab reporting.
One of Irving's favorite community events is the annual 4th of July Parade. It's a day for civic pride, community spirit, and last but not least, the watermelon reception. Here's a look.
Today we're having the biggest birthday party of the year, and we're celebrating America's birthday.
The streets were packed at Irving's annual 4th of July Parade held at Heritage District. Some of the floats represented this year's theme of celebrating America, honoring American All-Stars.
And what we wanted to do was to celebrate any American that has significantly contributed to American history. A lot of times we think that those are sports heroes and athletes, but we wanted to say no, All-Stars are historians or teachers or scientists. They're all kind of people, and that's what we wanted to embrace today.
Well, we've got so many heroes. You know, when you say heroes, a lot of people think of our military, which is very true. We're very fortunate to have the men and women who have served our community. But there's a whole bunch of people within the community that are heroes. The people that work with the underprivileged, people who work with the elderly, the people who work with kids, the teachers, you know, the churches. There's so many people within the community.
Along with enjoying the theme of the parade, Irving Mayor Rick Stouffer also enjoyed being a part of it.
It's always great to be in the parades here because the kids are so excited. And that's what it's all about. It's about the kids having fun and understanding what independence really is and why we celebrate this day.
But the fun didn't stop there. Right after the parade was over, the celebration continued with a reception at Heritage Park.
You know, we have to have our annual watermelon, and then we have snow cones and some good old blues by Leo Hull and the Texas Blues Machine.
The 4th of July parade and reception was an excellent start to the day. It was a fun-filled family event that brought together the entire community.
Irving really knows how to do parades. I think we embrace community, and we embrace patriotism, and we embrace love of country better than anybody else I know.
And the ability for everyone to come together like this is fabulous. You see all different people here, all different nationalities, all here to celebrate. And that's what the city of Irving is about, bringing everybody together to celebrate.
For About Town, this is Susan Kamyab.
The Irving Convention Center is home to some next-level Irving hospitality, and the Dallas Comic Book Convention, a new event, brought in fans from all over North Texas. Here's another look.
The Dallas Comic Book Show is making its debut in Irving, and we're about to dive right in and see what's going on.
There was lots to see and take part in at the Dallas Comic Book Show.
We've got dozens and dozens of the hottest comic book creators here. We've got several cool celebrity guests, some really cool cosplayers, and it's just kind of a fun mix of a lot of different stuff, a little something for everybody.
It was comic books galore as the event had a number of comics for purchase. Some even signed and sold by the artists themselves.
I worked on the Powerpuff Girls comic book series way back in the 90s when the show was first coming out. I was basically I saw the show and I was a fan of it, and so when I drew up a whole bunch of pictures for it, happened to meet an editor at a convention, and she liked my stuff well enough that she gave me more things to do. I did some continuity, and I was the first Powerpuff Girl artist for the comic book that I hired.
In addition to comic books, vendors had a variety of unique merchandise.
I take the cover of an existing comic book. We don't reproduce anything. We take existing comic book, not old ones, but newer ones. And then I mount it to a piece of foam board and actually cut that out, the image out, and then lift it so it gets that 3D effect, and we put them in the shadow boxes.
What I do is make the comic book coasters off of tiles, and I seal it all with resin, and so it's completely waterproof and sealed. And we have mix and match. We have 4, comes with a set of 4 for each set. and just, a little bit more to add to your comic book collection.
The show also featured a number of celebrity guests who were there to sign autographs and take pictures with fans.
Having John Wesley Shipp from The Flash and Helen Slater from Supergirl, which obviously two of the hottest shows on TV right now, that's pretty awesome, and so there's a lot of fun stuff. Kathy Najimy is one of my favorites, my personal favorites, so I was very happy to have her here, and Nick Stahl making his first comic book convention appearance. So yeah, it's fun. It's a great mix of people.
The Dallas Comic Book Show is an exciting experience for fans, but it's also gratifying for the people involved in the event.
It's nice to get out of the house, and to meet people and to share, things that you like with hopefully the people will also like.
I just like to be involved with it. I like to dress up, and I like to see everybody coming out and dressing up, and especially the kids too. My daughter will be out here later as Superman, and it's just fun to just get out and be a part of all of it.
For me, the biggest pleasure I get out of this is just seeing the fans being able to meet their heroes and smile and have a good experience.
From buying one-of-a-kind fan art to meeting a childhood hero, the Dallas Comic Book Show offered unforgettable moments for everyone in attendance. For About Town, this is Susan Kamyab.
That wraps up this edition of the Best of About Town 2017. Thanks for joining us and for all of your support during this past year. From all of us at ICTN, we wish you a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year.